My name is Adrian Barron. I was one of the artists who worked at the library on the project Riverbanksy.
Can't even remember also my friend.
As an artist, I've made prints for 20 years. Right? And one of the aspects of this project, Riverbanksy, was actually creating casts. Which is a form of printmaking. One of the key aspects of printmaking is you have a concept. In this case, for the library, it was about the garden, creating a garden. There's something like 700 books in the library about gardening. So to create a garden in the library sounded like quite an exciting ambition. In this case, it was going to use about 4 tons of concrete and a variety of building materials, etc., and place it right in the centre of the library. One of the aspects of this is actually working with young people, ages between 12 and 24. This was, in printmaking terms, I could say it was actually having the press, making the print itself. But one of the great, or one of the interesting aspects of printmaking is the machinery in between. So you can come up with a concept at the beginning, but you don't know what the outcome is going to be. Now, in this case, the machinery in the middle were the young people. I didn't know what they were going to do, how they were going to take the project, what they were going to actually place on it. There was this idea that there'd be lots of swear words and things, but I found it was far more sophisticated than that, and there were lots of terms which I'd never even heard of, and the result was something which didn't really look as though it had anything to do with gardens at all, but something to do with the British Museum, something which you'd find in a museum environment or in an excavation where there's all these various different types of tones and colours within the materials which we were using. And that's how we ended up creating the site-specific piece. You know, it was almost an opportunity for both us artists to actually take authorship of it at the end of the process, by setting it out, discovering what was in the materials itself, and setting it up as a museum piece. It was varied. I mean, we did have some people who were doing degrees, a couple at BTEC, all the way down to young school kids who actually been disenfranchised, really. The disenfranchised ones I thought were the most exciting, because I didn't know what was going to happen when it started, and I didn't realise the amount of pleasure they would get out of just basic materials, playing with it, creating cement out of sand and water, mixing it together, even filling the boxes. I mean, to me, it was seeing sort of half a dozen young men standing around a pile of cement, hammering and banging. It was like a Henry Moore drawing from the Second World War when he did mines and things. So, and I think you realise that young people do obviously need something a little more than just maths and English at school.
Fantastic. I'm dropping it onto the top because we don't want it to come off the board.
I used to build houses.
I'm going round in a circle.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why I'm quite interested in this heritage aspect is there was a moment when I was working with young people and I decided I would try to control it in some way, which was, I noticed that the words they were using had no form of history in them, or heritage as such. So I decided that I would introduce the word heritage, and they looked at me blankly, and they had no idea what it was it about, why it existed. And I had to say, what does your father do? What does your grandfather do? What does your great-grandfather do? Could be your mother's family going back. But there was no real grasp of the history which had gone before. And I think it would be nice to actually sort of build on that somehow, or try to find people who could actually reintroduce that to them. Because it was obviously in their DNA as such, because when it came to mixing the cement, etc., they were hands-on, physically doing it, hammering, banging, etc., and it just seemed there is something which is missing. I think working with community. I don't think I've taught for 30 years, but working with groups of people, individuals, outside a college or university or even a school, which is set, and actually allowing them to make the decisions of where it's going to go next. I think I really loved that the most, and I would love to do it again.